So good morning again. Hope you are all doing well this morning. So today I'd like to work on part 2 of the series that started yesterday about loving our kids to God. And yesterday we talked about absolutes and authenticity, about giving our kids, letting our kids know there are absolutes, that we don't live in a world where there's really no right nor wrong, and also teaching them about being authentic in the sense that we as parents or grandparents are authentic. And if you missed part 1, you could go to my Facebook page and listen to it. So today, part 2 of Loving Our Kids to God, I've named Truth Accompanied by Relationship. And some of this is based on a teaching from Josh McDowell from many years ago. So it starts out with truth without relationships lead to rebellion. So we can give a child the truth, but if we don't have a good relationship with them, then it can lead them to rebellion. So we need to build our relationships with our children, and we don't appeal to them as as being their father or their mother. We need to appeal to them that we love them. That, how we speak to our kids, what we speak to our kids, those things are how we react to them. We need to speak love to them. So, I thought about this. There's times that people come and maybe, I don't know if it's necessarily correct or have to tell you something that you need to hear. Now, there are certain people who can come to you and tell you something, and you can accept it with a glad heart because you know that they love you and they care about you and they have your best interests in mind. And then there's those that can come to you that you cannot receive it from. And why is that? Well, because they haven't built that relationship with you. So how do we build relationships with our children or our grandchildren? And the first one I'm going to talk about is acceptance. In Romans 15:7, it says, "Accept one another then, just as Christ accepted you, in order to bring praise to God." So we need to communicate to our kids that we accept them unconditionally as who they are, no matter what. Each of our children are different. If those of you that have more than one child, you know that each child is different, and how you love one child or relate to one child can be totally different than another one of your children. So learning how to love them and communicate, and we have to do it there, the way that I guess I would say is their love language. So the second one is appreciation. And in Matthew 3:17, I love that this scripture was used for this. And it says, "And a voice from heaven said, 'This is my Son, whom I love. With him I am well pleased.'" Wow, can you imagine if our kids hear more of that? I sure wish I had done that with my kids. Because, I love them and I appreciate them. But they're grown up now, and I don't believe they knew that when they were young. So those of you who have young children, think about this. And us grandparents can think about that with our grandchildren. So with appreciation, it said, we need to first catch our kids doing right and praise them. And if we can't catch them doing right and praise them, then we have no right to catch their wrongdoing. We should be quicker to pick up the things that they do that are praiseworthy than the things that they do wrong. How often, wow, I think of how often, I probably told my kids something they didn't do right. But oh God, how I wish I had told them all the things the things they did wrong, and how I wish I had told them all the things they did right. Encouragement. It encourages them to do the right things. And, I'm not saying, that we don't discipline our children, because we do need to discipline our children. God tells us that. He says he disciplines those he loves. We are to discipline our children because we love them, and we do it for their own good. But we want to give them a reason to do good. So, sometimes when your kids are really little and you're trying to teach them to do certain things, like maybe pick up after themselves or whatever, and you do these little posters where you give them little stickers and stuff like that. That's a good beginning. But let's keep up those things and show them our appreciation. And also in Romans 1:8 it says, "First, I thank God through Jesus Christ for all of you, because your faith is being reported all over the world." He was talking about that, the world knew his appreciation. So let people know about your appreciation. Let your kids know about that you appreciate them. And then the third thing is affection. If they don't get affection from us, they're going to get it from somewhere. And where do we want them to get their affection from? Where do we want them to get their hugs and their kisses and their loving and just sitting next to each other and just, where do we want them to get it from? And it's important to start that from the time they're young and keep it up. So if we love them now, they will love us later. And if we spend time with them now, they're going to want to spend time with us later. And another thing is availability. We need to spend time with them now. Again, because if we don't spend time with them now, they're not going to want to spend time with us later. If we couldn't take time out now for them, then how are we going to